Good evening, I am Amadin Ogbewe. Now, the build-up to the Edo 2024 governorship elections is still on the rise. On Kaftan TV here, we will be speaking to as many aspirants and candidates as possible to get the public and the Edo citizens and residents to understand the choices they have before them and what they should be looking out for as they head to the polls in a couple of months. Tonight I have with me one of those potential aspirants and candidates, Dr. Dennis Aikoriogie. He joins me now to do justice to the issues of Edo State's yearnings and what his particular plans could be to change the fate of Edo residents. All right, Dr. Aikoriogie, good evening, welcome to Talk.
Yeah, good evening, my brother Amadin. It's nice to be on your program.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, thank
you. All
you.
right, so before we delve into, your ambition and perhaps your plans, very quickly, there's a little bit of controversy about your bid and the fact that you were with the Labour Party and there were some allegations you made. So let's know about that. What's the state of things right now? Are you with a party, and why did you leave if you have the Labour Party?
All right, thank you very much. Like you rightly said, I was a very frontline aspirant under the Labour Party. I was one of those who championed the obedient movement during the last 2023 general elections. I was a global coordinator of Diaspora Strong for Peter Obi. And it was a support group that cut across the states in Nigeria, FCT inclusive, and we were able to galvanize support, go on door-to-door campaign for Mr. Peter Obi, and that culminated into the Edo election for me to vie for the office of governor under the platform of the Labour Party. And just before things heat up, we've been putting structures in place, trying to build up the Labour Party. I've contributed immensely to the growth of the party, and a lot of people can attest to this. And all of a sudden, we see people started the campaign from APC, PDP, infiltrating the parties. We raised alarm. At the first instance, they told us we don't need to be bothered about that. But recent happenings make us to be really bothered, because we see that even within the party structure, those of us who were there for the party, especially during the 2023 general election, we have been sidelined. And I see most people they talk about those people who just decamped. And basically, because of money politics, they throw money around trying to buy people, which brings me back to the allegation. They said I make an allegation, which can be corroborated with a lot of persons, that there are some certain aspirants who pull party executive on salary, they buy them cars, and they do all sort of things, throw money around. And these are the persons people now, clamor for, and we hear their names. So those of us who struggle for the party, especially during the general elections and the local government elections, we're not being talked about. So,
is there any proof of this?
Of course, it's all over social media. Have you not seen an aspirant distributing 20 vehicles? You are not a candidate yet. So if you are going to participate in a party primary, these are the people who are going to take decision already. You are already buying vehicles for the party. I mean, definitely things are going to sway to your own side of, during the contest, during the primary. If you are doing things that are going to induce or, to a large extent influence the decision of the party, is already money induced. Those of us who cannot compete with you, we are disadvantaged. So these are some of the reasons why I have to leave the Labour Party and to pitch my tent elsewhere. And people have applauded me for taking that decision.
All right. So what's the update now? Have you pitched your things anywhere?
Yes, I have, but I have not come out in the open to make a declaration within the party. I need to meet my party and, discuss with them, then I'll make a formal disclosure of that party. Somehow I have, make a little guess. Tell people in confidentially about my party, and you can't believe already all these money bags are already running into those parties to block my chances. So these are one of the reasons why I'm trying to, come in the open to see about my party, because those people who chased me out of Labour Party, they're going to come again and want to infiltrate this new party I am. I don't know. Everybody seems to chase me wherever I'm going. I don't know what I'm carrying. Everybody just wants to be where Dennis is. Do
you think at some point you can fight back?
Yes, I can fight back, and that's why I'm talking. I'm here in the studio to let people know my side of the story and let people know what I stand for.
All right, fair enough. So now let's start to delve into the parts that I believe will concern the citizens of Edo State more. In your opinion, what is it that you think the people are yearning for? That difference that you believe that you can now make in the state. Everyone has their agenda or thereabouts what they feel is wrong. But what do you think you will be bringing particularly to fix the state? And if you can also let us know a little bit about what you feel has prepared you for the role.
All right, thank you very much. Let me take the questions in turn in which you've asked. What are the people yearning for? I think the people of Edo State, they are yearning for a better way of life. They are yearning for good basic education. They are yearning for good health care. And our roads are impassable. And those basic infrastructures need to be fixed. When I was growing up, we used to have tap water running within a house, but as of just now, there's no pipe-borne water in Edo State. You can't open your tap and it's running. If you don't have a borehole, you can't do that. Your tap will not be running. So these are some of the issues that revolves around infrastructure, which the people are yearning for, better way of life. They have to have food and security and shelter. These are the basic needs of every human endeavor, which every government is supposed to provide, and you create an enabling environment for business to thrive. So I believe these are the things that people are yearning for, which has been lacking since this nascent democracy started in 1999. There's no government that has been able to provide these basic needs for the people, and that is what I will be offering. And what has prepared me for this, in terms of my education, I have an MBA, Masters in Business Administration. I did my National Youth Service at the House of Representatives, Abuja, and I've been a principal staff officer with a River State agency. So I've worked within the public service, and also in terms of business, into food export from Africa to the US. So that is my background in terms of private, public institutions, and also work with New York State Department of Health as an health technician. And I believe all these, in terms of my public experience, private, I'll bring them to bear to elevating the dividends of democracy for Edo people. So this is what I'll be bringing. And also I've been trying to touch the Edo people through my foundation, which is Dennis Aikoriogie Foundation, which I've been able to cater for orphans. And every Christmas I organize a Christmas party for children in orphanage homes, and I also reach out to widows.
All right. So sorry to cut in there, so that we can really get to the key points. The issue of roads, you mentioned it already.
Yeah.
It's something that, speaking to the average Edo citizen or resident, they harp on it a lot. And there's usually this argument about this is a federal road, this is not, and so on. So I'd like to know what your approach to this would be, bearing in mind that whatever you want to do in government, there is need for funds. And Edo State is not really one of the oil producing states, so to speak. And so one might wonder, what are you targeting to get that revenue and fund yourself? Because when it comes to debt, Edo State is among the states with the highest external debt. So we already have that on ground. So I'd like to know, what your own strategy is, particularly with roads, the money to fix the roads, and the whatever issues might arise as to federal, state, and so on, and who should take responsibility.
All right. Thank you for your question. I think to make a distinction between a state and federal road, we know there is already that distinction from maybe the constitution or from way things are done in Nigeria, in which a certain state is a roads, named state road, and some others are named federal road. For me, I don't think a state government should be waiting for the federal government to fix the roads. I believe Edo indigenes, they are the one applying those roads, and it's of utmost importance that the governor places a very strong priority on those roads, because Governor Amechi of Rivers State, he has done it countless of times. He has fixed roads which are designated federal roads, and he sent the bill to the federal government. I think when he did that, it was maybe Goodluck Jonathan that was president then. Amechi sent the bill to the federal government. So the reform was not done until during the Buhari administration. And guess who benefited from that? Wike benefited from that. So that was part of the bulk of money Wike used in building all those flyover, because Amechi invested in federal government roads. So this is what we expect the present administration to be doing right now, to fix the roads and send the bill to the federal government for reimbursement or a refund. But that's not the case, but they are making excuses that is a federal road. I think that is unacceptable by we, the Edo citizens. So in terms of revenue generation, Edo State is rich in mineral resources. We have also rich in human resources. So we have to tap on these resources in terms of try to develop humans. IT is one of the ways in which you could develop the human capital, which is very, very conversant with what Indians are doing. Indians all over the world, they are known for IT. You can develop those kind of hubs in Edo State, and you export this human talent. It becomes a foreign estate for Edo State. I've talked about other minerals we have in Edo State, rubber, cocoa, bitumen. You can exploit all these, like I just said earlier initially. You make the place conducive for business to thrive. You attract investors to come to Edo State, to come and invest, build companies, factories. This is what is lacking in Edo State. Because Edo State is known as a civil service state because there are no companies. When students graduate from college, they go to other cities like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, because these cities, they have companies and corporations. So these are what we tend to do to attract investors to come invest. By so doing, revenue comes to the state, and also by way of when these minerals are invested upon, it contributes to revenue. So it becomes money resources becomes available for the state's government to fix and to fix all these things that are lacking in the state. So these are some of the things I will be doing to try as much as possible to diversify the economy, so that we don't rely on federal allocation or oil. We diversify the economy by looking at other areas in which we could explore our resources, export it maybe in conjunction with the federal government. We earn resources from these and use it to develop our other sectors like education, health, and all this. And Edo State will be we have a greater Edo State.
You anticipate a cordial relationship between the state and the federal, despite the apparent difference in parties, so to speak?
Yes, definitely. If you are doing the right thing, there should be a cordial relationship. You should be able to sell your policy to the federal government and trying to be in the good books of the federal government. And when they see that you have good ideas and good policy and you are in the good book with the federal government, definitely they want to work with you, because also by some implications, the federal government would also be benefiting from all those investments, though it's going to be centered in Edo State, but one way or the other, the federal government is going to be benefiting from that, and also to some extent, it will also be a credit that certain things happen within a particular administration.
Fair enough. That is the ideal situation, so to speak. So let's talk about something you mentioned, getting foreign direct investments and exporting talent and so on. Edo State is known as a hub of, for lack of a better word, immigration. Speaking to the immigration PRO the other day, and he said that Edo State is amongst the top states where they have massive, persons coming into the immigration trying to get passports so they can leave the country, which goes to show that a lot of people in Edo State have intention or have plans to leave one way or another, to have that much traffic on par with Lagos and Abuja and even Port Harcourt. So how do you think this can be harnessed, or is there a way it can be harnessed? Because it's usually referred to as human capital flights, that the best of us are leaving for greener pastures. So is there a way this can be turned around, knowing that Edo State happens to be one of those states that has that high volume? Is there a way this can be harnessed, or is this something that you would seek to reduce? So how do you approach that situation?
Yes, thank you very much. The question you asked in terms of immigration of persons, it has its own positive aspect, it has its own negative aspect. Negative aspect in the fact that it connotes the word brain drain. The best hands are being exported elsewhere overseas. And it can be a positive this in the sense that when you make the state or the country conducive, because I know I'm a diaspora, I know a lot of persons also they are in the diaspora, they want to come back. What is going to attract the best brains you have outside to come back, which now becomes a blessing, because they say the best thing you can do, or the best people who can build a country, is your diaspora. Because I was looking at watching a video, and it was saying Jesus, he made me reference about Jesus going to Egypt and coming back is a diaspora. So diaspora can be a blessing to Nigeria, but you have to fix the security. So this is what we are trying to do. When you fix the security, you make life comfortable. I know there's hundreds of, even thousands of Nigerians who are willing to come back, even to invest. I know of certain people who are already investing, so people who have the intention of coming back to invest. So when you give 100% security, you are sure then of government fair, maybe like tax advantage or holiday for a funds industry, for companies just setting up and the ease of doing business. So a lot of businesses, people in Nigerians living abroad, they will want to come back to invest, but you have to make the atmosphere, the business atmosphere conducive for them to come back, which I've just touched on: security, ease of doing business, and setting government concessions to these businesses. And definitely our diaspora now will not be a blessing to Edo State and to the country.
That's fair enough. So let's touch on one of those, the issue of security.
Yeah.
The governor is seen as the chief security officer of his state. How would you deal with this particular issue that seems to be cropping up, maybe not so brazen, but it's there in Edo State? Take, for instance, very recently in Akoko Edo, there were talks of some invaders, coming in and usually attacking the outskirts, people who are just trying to farm and so on and so forth, So what would be your ideas? Because there's always this argument that even though the governor is the chief security officer of the state, he doesn't have constitutional powers to actually protect the state, because he has no control over the police or the army. That is still in the hands of the president. But the title is yours, and the whether you like it or not, the blame would come to the governor. So are there innovative ways you believe that a governor can begin to protect his own region without having to depend heavily on perhaps the president to come himself and give the orders and so on and so forth? What would be your strategy for security within the state itself?
Yes, thank you very much. I don't think the Constitution does not empower the governor to take charge of security in the state. He does, because that's why he's called the chief security officer of the state. He presides over the security meeting of the state, and the commissioner of police is answerable to him under that meeting, and the brigade commander is answerable to him under that meeting. Though within their command, they may have someone they are reporting to. In terms of the police, maybe the IG. But in terms of the state, you call a security meeting. Those people are there answerable to you. So you have to find a way to have your own good security architecture within the state. You have to address issues of surveillance camera, use of CCTV. You have to give the police or the security, whichever one you'll be working with, and patrol vans, communication gadgets, and you have to invest seriously on technology in terms of fingerprinting technology, facial recognitions, and others have to be in place for you to solve security in Edo State. And also the issue of these people who invade people in farms, you have to make sure that you send the security to all those forests, that they come all those forests or farms or farmland, and they expunge all these people who kidnap people within all these areas whereby they go farming, and those headsmen, they come to slaughter them. Those people need to be flushed out of those areas. And it's also what is very key in terms of security is intelligence gathering, which we call you have to do information for people for security architecture to act. For you to do this, you have to also fall back on community policing, which is very paramount. So that's why you have to work with traditional rulers, so that people within the locality, they can give police information, which we call intelligence. By so doing, they will act on these and make sure information is top-notch within the state. So this is how you face security. First of all, you have on community policing, which is intelligence gathering, and make sure that there's a synergy between these people and the police, so that they get the right information and they work on it. And also, it falls back, the bulk of the distance stops on the governor's table. You cannot say you are the chief security officer of the state and you give excuse because every month or monthly you are being given security votes. Most of these girls know what do they do with it. They don't do anything with it. So you have to make judicious use of that money to make sure Edo State everybody is protected 100%. So that's what I will be doing if I'm given the opportunity to be the chief security officer of the state. I'll make sure that security votes and other votes, other money, invest heavily on security to make sure that security is 100%, so that all the nooks and crannies of Edo State, especially the entry points, the borders, Ondo, Kogi, and all these data set entry into Edo State, they're 100% secure. That before you come into Edo State, you meet a security point that is going to make sure that security is tight in the state, and there's not going to be an excuse to say the commissioner of police is answerable to the IG. We know that, but you have to fix the security in your state and avoid that clumsy excuse of giving us that the CP or the commissioner of police is answerable to the IG.
That's fair enough. They're very interesting. You spoke about making judicious use of the funds. I'd like to get what your mindset is as to expenditure, government expenditure. In the last couple of months, there's been release of various governments. I believe Edo State was one of them. Well, let me not say what I'm not sure of. There were some states where the expenditure for just the state house was more than the revenue that the state was generating. It happened in quite a number of them. So what's your mindset to spending, and what kind of government? Is it going to be a lean one, or is it going to be a government like we've heard on the federal level that government is trying to create employment by having so many special assistants and so on? What's your own strategy as regards this?
Yes, thank you very much. Our approach to government would be a lean government and a government that is sensible and to feedbacks of the public. And this is part of what we've always clamored for while we became obedient, because we believe we're going to move from consumption to production, because there's too much emphasis on recurrent expenditure in government, and there's so much leakages in governments. We have to try as much as possible to reduce our recurrent expenditure and have more on our capital expenditure to invest in critical sectors of the economy. I've enumerated them: education, roads, and all that. So these are what my administration will be looking at to try as much as possible to operate a lean government, because as an economist, I know what it means to use scarce resources. You draw your scale of preference and you prioritize your needs according to the yearnings and what the state needs. So we'll be running a lean government, and also we'll try as much as possible to make our government accountable and also to be open, because it's part of my agenda in my manifesto to make sure that I'll operate an open government. You can have access to government budget and what government is spending through the Freedom of Information Act. You can request to have government budget and what government is spending money on and how government gets its revenue. This will be in the public domain for you to scrutinize and also see how government is making judicious use of resources. You just make, or rather, you try to shy away from it. I actually saw it. This current state government is spending almost 1 billion stamp duties, and everybody's asking, what is the governor spending almost 1 billion stamp? I think it's on stamp duties. Just for a month. So my government will be running a very prudent government. I'll try as much as possible to reduce expenses, and we'll try as much as possible to trim down the number of advisors we're going to have. Advisors are important, but we're going to appoint people who knows what they are doing, who can deliver on the job, and not just using it for political patronage. Like I've said a couple of times now, we'll be running a lean government, and a government that's going to be open to the people, and people can scrutinize what we do. You get to know what the government is earning and what we is making our expenses on.
All right, just for sake of time, if you can just answer this final question in a matter of seconds, if possible. What's your plan or thoughts as regards technology? A lot of people say Nigerians have low-level problems like power supply, road, and all of that. They shouldn't be concerned with artificial intelligence or things of that nature. Where do you stand on this, and how do you think this could come to play in a state like Edo State?
Yes, thank you very much. I think initially I didn't make a reference to nursing human talent in terms of human capital development, and I did say technology is going to be on the forefront, and drawing reference from India, because India is one of the great one of the top countries that export technology in terms of IT, the Indians and everywhere. And Nigerians also, they are good. They just need to be given the opportunity to, to explode. And you did mention electricity. One of my agenda in my manifesto is to make sure that Edo State have 24 hours electricity. It's not a cheap talk. It's doable because we know that certain companies in Edo State, they already have 24 hours electricity. Companies like Dunlop, Okomo, and all that in Edo State, Ologbo area, they have 24 hours electricity because this. They are exploring the use of gas to generate electricity, 24 hours electricity. So we can use this and as a case study to make sure we have a pilot plan, to make sure that Edo State have 24 hours electricity by having on wind technology, on gas, and thermal and others, to make sure we have 24 hours electricity. Right. And it's only when you have 24 hours electricity, like you said, that issues of technology cannot be addressed. So like I said, one of my agenda is to make sure that Edo State have 24 hours electricity, and it's doable, and we can break that jinx.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis, for being on the program.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.